I think recently that an indication that you're doing something right is when you're completely gassed out from the day that you've just done. So I'm thinking that because I kind of am right now. You just completely tire yourself out, and that's usually an indication that you've probably pushed something to the limit anyway. And usually, it's kind of likely that it's the thing uh, that you should have pushed to the limit. Of course, if you're gassed out from eating 20 donuts, then that's probably not the best indicator of health. But if you're gassed out from exercising a lot, then that's probably a good indication that you're actually pushing yourself. And it's a way that we can kind of avoid just pretending that we're doing something that requires effort, but we're not actually putting that much effort into it, not as much as we could. And that's usually the indicator of whether we're actually serious about the thing or not. And I discovered this in the gym as well. Like my friend and I were just in the gym, and I did a set amount of reps for each set, and I was okay with that. It wasn't that easy, but I wasn't pushing myself to failure. And then I came in with my friend one day, and I saw him, and he was just pushing himself until his arms literally couldn't push up the dumbbells anymore. And I realized that's probably the way to go. It's probably a lot better for your muscular growth and physique than just doing a set amount each time and gradually increasing. You should just push yourself to the limit on each set. And in real life, you could kind of do with that as well. Of course, don't be an idiot and make sure to moderate it to some extent. Make sure that you're not completely losing the head every day, so that the next morning you're just absolutely dreading the activity. But on some particular occasions, do know how to push yourself to the limit. And I've just been working there for a few hours, and I've just been finishing up this blog post, and it's taken about 3 days. And to be honest, just writing it out was the most boring thing ever, because I had to keep going back to the software and including images of it and referring back to this other source of information I got from, and getting stuff back from there, and I just had to keep doing it. And the total thing ended up being more than 3,000 words long, so that's a pretty good thing. But it still was very demanding, and I just had a lot on my plate. So I was doing that for about 4 hours 2 days ago, and then another 4 hours. Not 4 hours, maybe three and a half. The day before yesterday, and then today again. And um, I was probably just doing a lot of it. And I think that's a good indicator that I have pushed myself to the limit. So even though I just don't really feel in the mood for anything at all, I guess it is a good sign, because um, it's usually means that I'm on the right track, because I'm the type of person that just can't be satisfied with not not putting my all into something, because then I just feel like a weakling who can't even stand the slightest bit of pain. That's how I feel when I don't just push myself really, really hard in something. Um, so maybe that's just a thing that you need to develop, or maybe you can just objectively look at things and see if the thing actually gassed you out completely. Of course, it's not every day we get gassed out, but if you have a load of time to yourself, then it's probably not a good indicator, because what happens then is just inertia, and as I've spoken before, but you don't know what to do, and you're just wandering around aimlessly. So it's not really that good of a thing. Just knowing how to push yourself and persevere is probably better than that, and that's what I think anyway. Now, of course, overexerting yourself and feeling tired aren't mutually exclusive. In fact, they're almost completely linked, and you can't go too far, like studying a load, or else you're going to destroy all of your passion for the thing. But specific bursts of effort can be a real indicator of actual growth, not just when you have motivation, but doing it on a disciplined, regular basis doing it every day. That would be good. So anyway, now the way I go into the gym is, in most exercises, what I do is I just go until failure or decently close to failure. Like if my arms are just completely on fire, then I'm probably gonna do that because it's I'm probably at high risk of pulling a muscle then. But I do it differently now. I've just adjusted my way of um, conducting that activity, and that's what we should do. We should see that we're not really pushing ourselves as hard as we could, and then push a bit harder. But we do need to be careful on which activities we specifically choose to push ourselves on, because some activities, again, I said are good. Some activities aren't good. If you're trying to push yourself to the limit for how long you're doing this gaming session, then you're probably going to end up absolutely brain tortured, but it's not going to be a good productive thing. I remember last year, I'm not much of a gamer anymore, but I was playing Elden Ring for the first 3 days it came out. I played it for about 20 hours over 3 days, and that's just a regular day for some people, but for me, that nearly gave me a heart attack. It was just such a burden to have to sit there and keep my eyes glued to the screen. But people spend that amount of time regularly on games, and this isn't a really good example because games are obviously not a productive thing, but you can see other people who are casually doing what you do um, when you're going at full effort, and they're just doing it easily, but they stay at that level, and you struggle to climb to that level. But the thing is, you get to that level then, and eventually you're comfortable at being at that level like they are. The difference is that you're willing to go up again and again. Of course, I didn't do this with video games. I don't think I ever played 6 hours again after that. But um, I do now see the point of just pushing yourself, because you just surpass the efforts of the people who got there before you, and while they're all content, you're able to strike. So yeah, I think that's a good way to just push yourself. Now, when you're doing these long form activities, make sure that you're actually focusing, because it's better to focus for 2 hours than to um, be dallying around for 12 hours, because you're not actually getting uh, that much stuff done in the 12 hours. You're probably only getting as much as 2 hours of actual focus stuff. And I don't want to point anyone out, but there are people who I've seen work for like 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day, and it's not really that effective because you're not fully focused. If you're fully focused for 4 or 5 hours, you're doing way more than that. That's what I think. So yeah, make sure that you're doing actual focused work and that you're kind of tiring yourself out, and that's an indicator of good progress.